Hey there, cats and kittens, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of The MonkeyBoy Presents the DC Comics Superhero Collection by Eaglemoss, and today I'm very excited to bring you issue number 75, Steel. And this is another really great character, one of my favorites. If you're a Superman fan, I'm sure you know who this guy is. He, of course, came into prominence after the death of Superman in a storyline known as The Reign of the Supermen. He was one of 4 guys who tried to sort of fill Superman's shoes. He also was featured in a movie called Steel, starring Shaquille O'Neal. The less said about that, the better, I think. And he also was featured on episodes of the Superman animated series, as well as episodes of the Justice League animated series, and probably other animated shows that I'm unaware of. So he's out there. He is, I think, pretty well known. But in case you want to know more about him, we of course have the magazine, which we'll look at first, and it'll tell you everything you want to know about John Henry Irons here, and then we'll look at the figure itself, covering the good, the bad, and the ugly. It really is nice if you're a Superman fan. I think you're really going to dig it. Big character, too. Big figure, I should say. Really looking forward to this one. Sit back, relax, please enjoy issue number 75 of the DC Comics Superhero Collection by Eaglemoss, Steel. First up, the character section. This is where we meet John Henry Irons, who from a young age displayed a natural aptitude towards engineering, which earned him a full scholarship into college. After graduating college, he went on to work for a company known as Ameritech, where he developed new weaponry for the United States government. After discovering the truth, John faked his own death and moved to Metropolis under an assumed name, where he began working on high-rises as a steel worker. One day, while John was working on a high-rise, a co-worker slipped and started to fall to his death. Without hesitation, John leapt to his rescue, and then found himself plummeting to his own demise. John crawled out of the rubble from the building that he was buried beneath, determined to help Superman fight against this monster called Doomsday. Determined to carry on Superman's legacy, John used his engineering skills to create a suit made out of steel so that he could fight crime in Metropolis. While John Henry protected Metropolis as Steel, the evil cyborg Superman helped the villain Mongol level Coast City. Shortly after this, the real Superman was returned to life and joined forces with Steel along with the cloned Superboy in order to stop the villainous cyborg. After being made an extended part of Superman's family, Steel went on to confront the White Rabbit and made sure that she was imprisoned. After her Uncle John took her power suit away, Natasha turned to Lex Luthor, who had recently unveiled a serum that he had discovered that could give normal human beings superpowers. John continues to serve proudly as a reservist with the Justice League of America and as a member of Superman's extended family. Next, we look at a couple of Steele's classic stories. First, we look at The Return of Superman. And this story actually details the 4 supermen who rose up after Superman was supposedly killed by Doomsday. One of the issues covers the Man of Steel, John Henry Irons. It details his background, it shows how he built the steel suit, and it also shows a darker side of Metropolis as he tries to take on gang warfare. Next, we look at 52, volumes 1 through 4. This year-long maxi-series was an extremely ambitious project for DC, where it explored the world without Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman. Instead, some of the second-tier heroes kind of stepped in to fill their shoes, including Steel, who becomes one of Metropolis's de facto protectors. He also has to deal with personal relationships throughout the course of the story, most notably with his niece Natasha, who is so desperate to become a hero in her own right she actually turns to the villainous Lex Luthor. It's beautifully illustrated and is one of the best Steel stories out there. Steel's Friends and Foes section features his niece Natasha, the Man of Steel himself, Superman, as well as the villainous White Rabbit. Finally, the iconography section looks more closely at some of the weapons that John Henry Irons has designed. We get a closer look at the BG-80, also known as the Toastmaster. It looks more closely at the armor he designed. It gives a closer look at his wrist-mounted rivet gun, as well as his kinetic hammer. We also get a glimpse at the Steel from the 51st century known as Steel 7 and his atomic hammer. Here we have Steel, John Henry Irons, and this is another great figure in the collection, I think. He's really, really nice. He's not perfect, but he's very close. Another solid colored figure like Wildcat and Deadman before him, but he's more akin to Deadman than Wildcat. There's lots of shading, lots of shadowing going on here, so he doesn't look so boring like Wildcat kind of did. I'm a little hard on Wildcat maybe, but I really like Steel here. I think it's a great interpretation of the character. Love this version. Again, it's a kind of amalgamation, but it's definitely leaning more towards the Reign of the Supermen look that John Henry had then, I believe. Love the shield on his chest. Huge, well-defined. You can see the riveting around the edge of the shield, which I think is a great touch. Love the riveting on the head as well. His sledgehammer is a removable piece, which is pretty cool. You do have to be careful, though, taking it in and out. It is a little sticky, and you want to be careful taking it out of the package, too, because as you can see, it is pretty thin, but nicely detailed, and he does hold it very well. It is, as I said, you can see, very easy to get in and out. All the way around, love the cape. It's gigantic. Love how it's bunched and flowing over his shoulders that way. Again, you can see lots of great shading and shadowing, all that creasing and everything. The way it looks like it's blowing around behind him slightly. All the way down to his boots, which are also nice. And again, they look like you can see the jet propulsion on there, which is just nice details all the way around. Lots of great details on Steel here. And we'll talk a little bit more about him here in just a moment. Steel stands atop the classic DC logo, and the underside of his base features his name and serial number. So you can compare. Here he is next to his Reign of the Supermen co-star, Cyborg Superman. A quick shot next to Doomsday. Another one next to the villainous Lex Luthor. A shot with the Man of Steel as well as the rest of the Superman family so far. And finally, a nice big group shot with every member of the Justice League that Eaglemoss has made so far. Steel here, I think, is one of the nicest figures in the line, to be perfectly honest with you. He's not for everyone, of course. I think you need to be a Superman fan in order to really appreciate this guy, but the level of detail on him is really nice. Let's begin with the good. I like almost everything on this guy. It's a great sculpt, great paint, nice shadowing and shading. Really dig the pose, and the fact that his sledgehammer was included I think is a nice touch. The boots are just a prime example of all the intricate details of the sculpting on this guy. And you can see the treads in the boots, you can see the steel toes, the thrusters. The musculature in the legs is also great. The musculature all over him is really great, and again, that lends to the outstanding sculpt. The paint is really nice. It's metallic fleck, but it's not too heavy. He doesn't like glitter or anything. It's very dull. It's a steel-looking metallic, which is perfect. The cape is really nice. It's big, it's billowing, lots of great folds. Again, great shading on it to show what an outstanding sculpt it is, and I love how big it is over the shoulders, too. The utility belt's a nice touch. Love all the different pouches and things. Again, you can see his chest and his torso. Really great musculature. The arms as well. Holes in the fists, of course, so that the sledgehammer can fit through. The left hand is a bit more detailed than the right because it has his wrist-mounted rivet gun, which I just think is a fantastic touch. And the barrels are even detailed for where the rivets fire out of it. Really cool. The sledgehammer also is really nice. It's a bit fragile, but not as fragile, as I said, as like the scythe or Robin's bow staff or those things. And you can see the hammer itself is extremely detailed and a really nice paint job as well. The shield on the chest is huge, huge. I love the Superman logo to begin with, and it's just so prominent on him. I love it. And the riveting around there is also great. You can also see just a hint of those great shoulder pads he's wearing too, and those are nicely detailed as well. Finally, the head sculpt I really like. It's simple, but it's perfect. It looks just like John Henry. I like the fact that there's riveting on the skull as well, the little detail on those ear socket things, and the face is nice. It's just sort of a very stern look, and the pupilless eyes I think is a great effect. Really, I like this figure a lot. On to the bad. Mine has lopsided eyes, so if you have the ability to check before you purchase, I would recommend doing so. My major criticism involves the cape. Two things. First of all, the shading is really sloppy on the underside, where it blends to the outside of the cape. It's really heavy, not well done at all, kind of sucks. The second thing is, I miss the S shield on the back of the cape, the gold S shield. I know he didn't always have it. I like steel with that S shield cape, though. I guess it's a personal preference, so that's just me. Finally, the ugly. Of course, the most fragile thing on the figure is the sledgehammer. You really have to be careful with it. It is a little bit sticky trying to remove it from his hands, as well as removing it from the packaging. That's probably where you want to be the most careful with it. Otherwise, he is a very big and very solid figure. Overall, I really like this figure a lot. I think it's a great interpretation of the character. I think almost everything on this guy is outstanding, with the exception of the problems I have with the cape. It's nice to have another character from the whole Death of Superman and Reign of the Supermen storylines. I really was into those. I grew up with those storylines, so they're close to my heart. He's a huge figure as well. I really didn't mention that before. The scale of this guy is great. He's on par with Martian Manhunter and Cyborg, so for the money, he is huge, and it's nice to have another member of the League, as always. Their ranks continue to swell, and it's really cool to have another member of Superman's extended family. There aren't enough. We do have a few more coming in the line as it progresses, but there aren't nearly enough. I think if you're a fan of Superman, if you're a fan of any of those storylines I mentioned, or just a fan of really cool, unique-looking figures, Steel is one to add to your collection. And I hope you have enjoyed this review of issue number 75, John Henry Irons. Please stay tuned for a teaser trailer for the next issue in the series, number 76. Another hero, but a female hero, yay! And another Lady Leaguer to add, and a new god as well. This is a character some of you have been requesting for a while, so I hope you enjoy. As always, I am your host, the Monkey Boy, aka J to his friends. Thanks for watching.